This is the Wrestling Replay. I am Cato. Welcome to episode number 40 of the Wrestling Replay AEW Dynamite edition. We are leading up to AEW Grand Slam, where we will finally crown a new AEW World Champion with everything that happened between CM Punk, him being suspended or possibly injured for 6 to 8 months. There's no way he's going to have the AEW World Championship with the Elite being out. We have new trios champions in the Death Triangle, that is. But before we get started, I got to give props where props is due. AEW has done a great job of tournaments and not just putting together a tournament. They've done a good job of putting together a tournament where each layer is going to give you a really good matchup, and it's going to reel you in. It's going to kind of hook you and make you want to watch next week. So I don't know if it was planned or not. I'm not going to say it was planned. I would hope it was not planned. But from the media scrum, Tony Khan and AEW really did a good job of taking a situation and rolling it into something positive. They have had great ratings since that happened. They've had great matches in this Grand Slam tournament. And another good thing is now when you get guys like Jon Moxley versus Sammy Guevara or Chris Jericho and Danielson, you don't really have to have a storyline behind it, because the storyline is the tournament. The storyline is these guys are trying to win an AEW World Championship matchup, and you're able to now put some of your better characters, some of your more fan favorite or more hated characters inside a storyline or inside of a tournament where they had really nothing else going on, and it kind of keeps them relevant. It kind of keeps the fans tuning in, because these are people that, of course, they will want to see. So it's kind of perfect. So I would say AEW has done a great job all the way building up to Grand Slam Dynamite, which is looking out to be a really good show. Now, to kick off this episode of AEW Dynamite, we got Jon Moxley going over Sammy Guevara. He advances in that tournament, which I thought he would. It kind of played out the way I thought it would play out. We'll talk about that at the end when we find out the final two competitors inside of the Grand Slam tournament, because that's where we're going to really talk about AEW Dynamite. I think that's where the real meat and potatoes of AEW Dynamite was anyway. But we did get Jon Moxley going over Sammy Guevara in that matchup. Next, we will see a matchup where Jungle Boy kind of calls out an open challenge, which was actually answered by Jay Lethal, which I don't understand, but I do, right? Okay, Jay Lethal is one of your better veteran wrestlers on the roster, and I feel like they could do a lot more than what they are doing right now with Jay Lethal. But I also feel like Jay Lethal was kind of there to help put people over in that veteran role, and more so geared towards the ROH side of things. So with Jungle Boy having this matchup with Jay Lethal, I think it builds momentum back for him to get back at Luchasaurus, to get back at Christian Cage, and at the same time, he notches a good win in a really good matchup against someone the caliber of Jay Lethal. I think that helped boost his Jungle Boy. So I do like that matchup happening. I do like Jungle Boy going out there and getting a win. We've seen Powerhouse Hobbs get another victory, of course, and then we got to see the Lucha Bros versus Swerve in Now Glory. And the one thing that kind of took away from this matchup for me is actually for the fact that the tag team titles were on the line. I know we got out 2/3 of our trio tag team champions going against the AEW tag team champions, but what you have already done at AEW Grand Slam is promote the match between Swerve and Our Glory and the Acclaim. You have already built a good storyline behind it. You laid the foundation. People are anticipating this matchup. This is what people want to see. So there's no way going into this matchup do I think that Rey Fenix and Penta is going to actually go and win this matchup against Swerve and Our Glory. So despite having a really good match, you kind of told us the ending. I wish it would have been a stipulation where it's like, if Penta and Rey Fenix win, they will be added to the tag team matchup at Grand Slam and make it a three-way dance. That way, it would have been like, okay, I could possibly see these guys winning. So that way, the ending of the matchup kind of wouldn't tell itself. But nonetheless, still a really good matchup. We got to see Toni Storm and Athena. They came up a little bit short against Serena Deeb and Britt Baker. I don't like the fact that Toni Storm is your AEW Women's Champion. and she comes out and takes the loss to Britt Baker and Serena Deeb. I feel like you could have input anyone in that tag team with Athena. You could have put Willow. I feel like they've teamed in the past. You could have put them in there if you want to give Britt Baker or Serena Deeb some more momentum. I think you're kind of building with that Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker feud, which I actually like. I would love to see when Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter meets. I want to see Britt Baker and Toni Storm meets. I want to see Jamie Hayter help Britt Baker win that AEW Women's Championship. Let's be honest, Britt Baker is the woman in AEW. They're keeping Jade away from any real competition right now. I don't know why. The undefeated streak is cool, but at the same time, it's like, if you're patting these wins against people that we don't even expect to beat Jade, what real good is the streak actually, outside of just saying the number? You know what I mean? So I would like to see Jade get some more competition, but as far as this AEW Women's Championship go, I would like to see Jamie Hayter actually help Britt Baker beat Toni Storm to win that championship, and then I want to see right after that matchup, Jamie Hayter say, look, you owe me. Me and you, one-on-one, I want the first shot at the title because you owe me. I helped put you over, and you screwed me when I had my chance to win. Now, in our main event, we got to see a really good matchup. Of course, we will see a really good matchup between Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson, with Bryan Danielson going over. So that means we will get Blackpool Combat Club versus Blackpool Combat Club. Of course, we'll see Danielson and Jon Moxley one-on-one, the two that I predicted would be winning this championship. I didn't even think about these two coming down to the finals. I kind of thought it would be Chris Jericho and Moxley coming down to the finals, and with the JAS helping Chris Jericho defeat Bryan Danielson in some type of fashion. But we're going to get Danielson and Moxley. Now, with these two being the finals, of course, one of them is going to come out the AEW World Champion. And to be honest, I kind of hope it's Danielson. Only because you had Moxley defeat CM Punk in, 3 minutes? Then you had CM Punk go and take the title back off Moxley. I feel like if you put that title back on Moxley right now, it's almost like saying, man, you should just let him hold that championship at Chicago and defeat CM Punk. And if you're not going to do that, then why not just let someone else hold that title? Because honestly, Chris Jericho, Moxley, or Danielson can all hold that AEW World Championship. I think it will build prestige. No matter which guy has it, I think they will all build prestige for that championship. And Danielson, with him having it, I feel like you fed most of your roster, if not everybody in your roster already, to Jon Moxley. Outside of MJF, outside of Will Morsley, those are only two people I see you can actually kind of build up immediately to face Jon Moxley. And MJF, they already laid the foundation with that. But if you put the title on Danielson, we could still build towards MJF and Jon Moxley, because MJF whole beef is ex-WWF guys or WWE guys coming in to the company and making more money in him. Jon Moxley is one of those guys. So if we have Jon Moxley and MJF go at it, MJF somehow he managed to go over. He has the firm behind him. We'll talk about that in a second. That can easily roll right into MJF, another Blackpool Combat Club member, going against Bryan Danielson. Sorry, name switch. But we can easily see something like that, and it would make sense. It would stretch the storyline out, and it would kind of be perfect. It would fall right in the hands of maybe getting CM Punk back if he does decide to come back. I don't know the full ramifications of what he's done or his injury, or if he has any desire to come back to AEW, especially with talking, about all the people he did in the media scrum. But if he does come back, hopefully he does good business and he goes against MJF, and MJF is the world champ, and he goes on to defeat CM Punk. And then you sign MJF for that 2024 contract, because he's the future of AEW. He's one of those pillars that you have to keep in that company. Now, when CM Punk comes back, does the job for MJF, then you can build upon CM Punk and Heyman and Page in their beef, or CM Punk and the Elite. Maybe CM Punk gets a crew to take on those guys. Something like that. I feel like that's something you could build upon in the months leading up to that rivalry kind of capping off, because it's a real life situation that you could take advantage of if everyone is going to be professional about it, which we have seen in the past that they're haven't been. But hopefully, they could talk things out and better heads prevail in the next couple of months, and maybe they can turn this into a lot of money. But we'll have to see. Danielson and Moxley. I see a lot of guys in AEW, man, they talk about, I hate watching WWE. They give us the same matches all the time. But AEW has been doing the same thing for the past couple of months. The same exact matches. But I don't care. I don't mind because it's a good match. It's a good story behind the match. And it flows. You know what I'm saying? It flows with everything that's going on. It doesn't seem like these two are just thrown together. Now, Danielson also win this matchup with you feeding so many guys to Jon Moxley prior. We're going to get fresh new matches for Danielson defending against so many people on that AEW roster. That's another reason I think that Danielson should go ahead and be the one to win this championship, because not only can we slow roll the feud with MJF, because MJF still got some smoke with Jon Moxley that he can handle before he even gets a title shot, and we'll get a lot of new fresh AEW competitors trying to get that AEW championship off Danielson as you build MJF and Danielson on the side. So I think Danielson is the right choice, man. We'll see next week at AEW Grand Slam. But let's talk a little bit about MJF and the Firm. I hate this faction. Really don't like it, don't understand it. I think you have a good tag team in the Gunn Club. They're really gaining some good heat with the fans. They're probably one of your most hated tag teams right now. Kind of was Swerving Out of Glory, ironically. And I think you can really build upon that and let these guys start notching some wins on their own by themselves. They don't need a manager. They don't need a faction to be behind them. They could just be their own tag team. They could just be the Gunn Club or the Gun Boys or whatever you want to call them. Lee Moriarty. This is the guy who had no momentum at all. I don't understand how he found his way into the faction, but he's a great singles competitor. Let him just go out there and do what he does best, and that's wrestle. Just let him go out there and wrestle, and let him start to build his resume up. I don't see how or why MJF will build the Firm and put a guy like Lee Moriarty inside the Firm. It just doesn't make sense. And when we get to Morrisey looks absolutely amazing. He's done a great job in the past 2 years. So I don't understand why you would even tie him up unless you're going to put him behind MJF. And he's your bigger and better version of Wardlow, like I said last week. And then we cap off with a match of Moxley going against Wardlow for that TNT Championship, with Moxley taking the TNT Championship off of Wardlow. Then that will make sense. If not, let Ethan Page and Moxley make a tag team, and that could be another great heel tag team that you have, and these guys will run through that roster. So by the time these two build up to a championship shot, who knows who will have the titles at that point, but you will have a nice dominant big tag team, something that AEW is missing. And truly, Moxley is the biggest guy on the AEW roster, so I want to see him in the ring destroying people. We've seen Ethan Page, and he's a really good competitor, but he's joining from faction to faction to faction. It's kind of like they don't know what to do with the talent that they have in front of them, and that's a little frustrating because you have a really big roster. You just introduced the Trios Championship, so if you're not going to use Moxley or Ethan Page as a tag team, hell, bring a trio in, and now you have another team that can go in for those trio championships. I think it's just a better way to use this group instead of making a group called the Firm. The Firm sounds cool, but instead of making this group, if you are going to make it, let it be MJF, Moxley, and Ethan Page. That's all you need. Those two guys can be enforcers. Those two guys can be tag team champions. Those two guys can bring on a third member at some point in time and just let it be a nice 4-man group. But I don't understand the Firm, and they're not really MJF crew. They're more of a hired gun. When they need MJF, they'll be there, and when they don't, they'll be doing their own thing. So it's like, I feel like you had like 5 talented guys and you just didn't know what to do with them, so you just threw them together. And it's unfortunate because I feel like it kind of actually caps their career. But we'll have to see how this Firm plays out. If it will be the reason MJF earns the AEW Championship, if he gets help from these guys or not. We'll have to find out sooner or later. But AEW Grand Slam looking like it's shaping up to be a really good card. So I'm excited to see that. We are back in the studio, as you see. I'm still a little bit under the weather. Getting a little bit better, though. So next week, you'll meet me right back here at the studio. We're going to go over AEW Grand Slam. I'm sure it's going to be a really good card. And then we'll have to kind of see where the storylines go after that. I want to see more advancement from Jade. I want to see more advancement. Well, first I want to see Danielson win the championship. Then I want to see who the next competitor will be, because I believe MJF and Moxley is the right match to do at this moment. So someone else has to come out there and challenge Danielson. We're also going to see a match between Claudio and Chris Jericho for the ROH championship. That's going to be really good. So I feel like they're building a pay-per-view quality card like they often do, and they're going to give it away for free on TV. I don't mind that. So that's all we got for this week, man. That was your AEW Dynamite review for the week. I'll be right back with the SmackDown and AEW Rampage replay. So if you haven't already, please go ahead, hit that like, subscribe. Make sure you turn your notifications so anytime we drop a video, you'll be the first ones to see. All right? I'm Cato. I'm signing out. Peace.